To win the race to power the modern world, one man's ambition had no limits. It sparked a rivalry so brutal it led to public spectacles of animal death, all just to prove a point. This is the story of how a war between two of history's greatest inventors led to the horrifying electrocution of an elephant. In the late 19th century, one name in electricity shone brighter than all the rest: Thomas Edison. He wasn't just an inventor, he was a force of nature, the man who had supposedly tamed light itself. His system, direct current, or DC, was the undisputed champion, lighting up parts of New York City and promising a brand new era. DC was straightforward and reliable. It flowed in one steady direction, but it had a major flaw: it couldn't travel very far. To make it work, Edison's vision required a power station roughly every mile, a limitation that basically tethered his electric empire to dense urban centers. Then, a dazzling and completely different mind stepped onto the scene: Nikola Tesla. Tesla was a Serbian immigrant who saw the world differently, and he arrived in America with a game-changing idea. He pictured electricity not as a straight line, but as a wave. He imagined a system of alternating current, or AC, that could be cranked up to incredibly high voltages, shot across hundreds of miles with almost no power loss, and then stepped down for safe use in homes. Tesla, logically, took this vision to Edison first, but the established genius, he wasn't having it. He saw Tesla's AC not as the next step, but as a direct threat to his DC empire. The two men, one a grounded industrialist, the other a visionary futurist, were a terrible match. After a bitter falling out over money and credit, Tesla walked, determined to prove his AC system was the real future. He quickly found the perfect partner in George Westinghouse. Westinghouse was an industrialist just as savvy as Edison, but he was also a risk-taker who saw the monumental potential in Tesla's AC designs. He licensed the patents, and just like that, the stage was set. This wasn't a friendly disagreement anymore. It was a full-blown corporate war for the right to power the entire planet. The war of the currents had officially begun. Edison, watching his DC monopoly crumble, decided to fight dirty. He launched one of the most aggressive and shocking smear campaigns in the history of technology. The strategy was simple: convince the world that alternating current meant certain death. His associates, led by a man named Harold P. Brown, started staging public demonstrations to horrify everyone. They gathered stray dogs and cats in front of reporters and then electrocuted them using high-voltage AC from a generator. The message was loud, clear, and gruesome. This new Westinghouse current was a deadly menace, while Edison's DC was perfectly safe. The propaganda only got worse from there. When New York State began searching for a more humane way to execute prisoners than hanging, Edison, who claimed to oppose capital punishment, saw a twisted opportunity. He and his allies aggressively promoted AC as the ideal tool for the job. Their goal was to forever burn the image of his rival's technology into the public mind as a state-sanctioned killing machine. They even invented a horrific new term for it: to be Westinghoused. The first execution by electric chair in 1890 was a botched, gruesome spectacle that went on for 8 minutes. Witnesses reported the smell of burning flesh. Instead of proving AC was lethally efficient, it just made Edison's tactics look macabre and cruel. But the campaign of fear wasn't done. Its grim finale would involve an animal much, much larger than a stray dog. Her name was Topsy. She was a circus elephant who had been performing for over 2 decades, but a life in captivity had worn her down. After killing a handler who had reportedly burned her trunk with a lit cigar, she was labeled a bad elephant. In 1902, she ended up at Luna Park on Coney Island. After more incidents, the park's new owners decided Topsy was a liability they couldn't handle. Their first idea was as sensational as it was cruel. They would publicly hang the elephant and sell tickets. The ASPCA thankfully stepped in and protested. After some negotiation, a new plan was hatched, one that was supposedly more humane, a combination of poison, strangling, and electrocution. And this is where the story gets complicated, and where Edison's shadow looms large. The War of the Currents was mostly over by 1903, but the bad blood was still there. Popular history often claims Edison himself arranged the whole thing as one last grand attack on AC. The truth is a little more nuanced. There's no direct proof Edison was even at Luna Park that day. However, the connection is impossible to ignore. The men who filmed the event were from the Edison Manufacturing Company, his own movie studio. The method of electrocution was based on the very animal experiments Edison himself had funded years before. And the current used to kill Topsy was 6,600 volts of alternating current. On January 4, 1903, Topsy was led out in front of a small crowd of reporters. She was fed carrots laced with cyanide, fitted with copper-plated sandals, and then the switch was thrown. Her massive body seized up in a cloud of smoke, and she collapsed, dead in seconds. The Edison film crew captured the whole thing. Their 74-second movie, titled Electrocuting an Elephant, was then sent out for the public to watch in Edison's coin-operated machines. Edison didn't personally throw the switch, but his company filmed it, put his name on it, and sold it to the public. It was the brutal cinematic echo of a war he had started. But while Edison's side was focused on death, Tesla and Westinghouse were preparing a demonstration of their own, one based on light. The 1893 Chicago World's Fair was America's chance to show off, and a bidding war began to see who would light up the massive fairgrounds. Edison's company put in a bid, but Westinghouse, using Tesla's far more efficient and cheaper AC system, undercut him by a huge margin and won the contract. That year, 27 million people saw it with their own eyes. Night after night, a brilliant white city blazed to life, all powered by Tesla's alternating current. It was a spectacular, undeniable display of the power and safety of AC. The public saw a city of light, not an instrument of death. For all practical purposes, the war was over. The final victory lap happened at Niagara Falls. For years, people dreamed of harnessing the power of the falls. In 1896, the contract to build the revolutionary power plant, one that would send electricity miles away to Buffalo, New York, was awarded to Westinghouse. They used Tesla's AC patents to do something DC power simply couldn't. It was definitive proof. AC was the future. The world had chosen. The ultimate irony? To even stay competitive, Edison's own company, General Electric, was forced to start using AC technology, the very system its founder had fought so viciously to destroy. The War of the Currents was way more than a business spat. It was a clash between two totally different visions for the future. Thomas Edison, the pragmatist, built an empire and is remembered for his brilliant inventions. But his legacy will always be tangled up with the brutal, dirty tactics he used to defend that empire. Nikola Tesla, the visionary, the poet of electricity, ultimately won the technical war. His AC system is the invisible force that powers our entire modern civilization. Though he died poor and largely forgotten, his genius is finally being celebrated for what it was. Their story is a powerful reminder that progress isn't always a clean, straight line. It's a messy human process, driven by genius but also by ego, ambition, and at times, a shocking desperation to win. And the ghost of Topsy the elephant, immortalized on an Edison film strip, remains a tragic monument to the dark side of that drive. So what do you think? Who really won the War of the Currents? The businessman who built the industry, or the genius who designed the future? Let us know down in the comments. And if you found this story fascinating, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into history. Thanks for watching.